Hey everyone, it's Ken and Andrea here from Northern Viking Explorer. Today we want to share with you our review of our Porthole Cabin on the Carnival Radiance. This was cabin 2221 and we want to share our thoughts with you. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Well, Andrea, our cabin, it was cabin 2221, so deck 2. It was on the right-hand side, the starboard side, and it was a porthole cabin.
And I loved it. I really have enjoyed the porthole for a few reasons.
Well, this is our first porthole cabin. We've never stayed in a porthole cabin.
No. And it was interesting because your cabin is bigger than an inside cabin.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's probably on par with a balcony, but you don't have the balcony space.
Mm-hmm. Well, and even the porthole itself, there's a ledge in front of it.
In ours, there was.
In ours, yeah.
So you could use that to store stuff or keep things. I enjoyed all the natural light that came in from there. Mm-hmm. I liked looking out. I liked that we had a full-size couch.
But there was also blackout curtains that covered it, so it would go nice and dark. And if you needed, there was even like covers that shut the portholes,
which I thought was really cool because it gives a real true nautical feeling to your cabin when you have those big metal windows.
So I guess kind of the vibe of the room, it definitely has kind of that traditional carnival beach vibe in it. The kind of I don't know, birchy colored woods, and not real wood, but it's definitely
similar to a lot of the other carnival ships we've been on.
Yeah, more modern than the age of the ship. So there's the room itself. There's a big long vanity kind of countertop down the one side, and then of course we've got the bed that can either be, I think, two twins or a king. We had a couch in there, a little table, and then the washroom, and then some cupboards.
And some nightstands next to the bed, which is also great for storing your things.
So this is important to me.
Okay. Yes, I know.
Plugs. So in our cabin, we had two USB-A ports along the vanity area. There was two 120 North American plugs. And then we had one 220 European plug. And we bring a little adapter that gives us more USB plugs that goes in the European plug. I'll link that below if you want to check that out. It definitely helps giving you some extra plugs. Now, if you have a really small hand, there behind our TV anyhow, there was an additional plug, but that was really tight. And you could probably have used the USB-A port on the side of the TV as well.
You know, I appreciate too that a lot of the plugs were by the vanity. So if you had things that you wanted to plug in and charge, it was easy to charge them on that shelf there.
Yeah.
It was well laid out for that.
I would say though, I'm going to throw in a wish here. We couldn't find any plugs or USB ports beside the bed.
True.
So
I didn't get under the bed to see if there was a hidden one behind there, but we couldn't see any obvious plugs.
So do be aware, we usually travel with a battery pack so we can charge if we want to charge beside the bed, but it is nice when there are plugs there.
Definitely.
The other thing I do want to mention, we usually bring magnetic hooks. The walls, for some reason,
it wasn't as strong. Of a hold.
Yeah, so the ceiling was really strong, so we used them on there.
And around the porthole area was very strong there.
Yeah. But the walls, it kind of slid down, so it was not as strong as other rooms for some reason. But it was still useful, the hooks. So again, same as the plug, I'll link that below, but they're useful, but they didn't stick as well on the wall.
Yeah.
So the washroom or the bathroom?
It was very typical for a Carnival cruise ship.
Oh, I'm going to say, first of all, my one wish, I say this every time we get it, the shower curtain.
I know, you love the glass.
I like the glass, so that isn't great, but it is what it is. And the other wish I have for the washroom is they don't have conditioner in there. They have the pump for the shampoo.
And if you think that's an issue, what about me? My recommendation is if you are at all care about your hair, you would bring your own shampoo and conditioner.
Yeah. So they have shampoo and shower gel.
Yes.
And they are separate. They're not in one.
Yeah.
But no conditioner.
Yeah. Which, you know, if you're swimming in that salty air and wind, you need some conditioner.
Yeah. There is a little safe in the room. It's in one of the closets. So you put in your own code. It's good for locking up your valuables.
Yeah.
And that was in, like, there's kind of 3 closets down the side. The safe was in one of those.
Yes.
So those are kind of like the floor to ceiling closets. And
which was a lot of space for a shorter cruise. Like we had plenty of space.
And there was lots of hangers as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then our suitcases did fit under the bed as well.
We had 28-inch suitcases, so we could put 2 of them under there. No problem.
No problem. There's a small cooler fridge.
Definitely emphasis on the cooler and definitely on the small. So you tried to put a bowl.
A bowl of fruit that I took from the buffet.
It didn't quite fit.
It didn't fit. I kind of had to wedge it up at an angle. Yeah.
So it's definitely smaller.
Small. So,
yeah.
But it works. You can just pick a small bowl.
Just get a little ice cream bowl type size to fit in there. Yeah.
One thing I do want to mention though, the AC worked well.
It got cold.
Yeah.
If anything, too cold. Well, I could have put the temperature up, but yeah,
but
it got really chilly.
When you're going to Mexico, it's nice when the AC works well, and it did work well.
It was good.
The other thing I wanted to mention is, you appreciate this. I know you always talk about this. Is that the nightstands actually closed? They weren't open nightstands, so you can put away stuff.
I honestly prefer if there was like a little drawer. It was just the cupboard style that you open. But you know, when you have things like either headphones and earbuds, medication, I like to keep those things just out of sight and just tucked away. I think that's nice, and then you're less likely to lose it. Especially, you know, you've got little earbuds sitting next to your bed. It's easy for them to get lost under the bed and stuff. So I like that you can close it in a space.
A couple other things I do want to mention. So there was a built-in hairdryer.
Yes.
So you can't move it around. I don't think it's kind of built into the drawer.
It's not super powerful, but for me it does the trick and saves a little bit of luggage space.
And then behind the bed, like at our heads, as well as I think behind the couch, there was little reading lights
which is
with
nice.
switches on them. So that was handy. So again, there was a couch, a little coffee table, which was nice, and a stool kind of for the vanity. So
it was good.
It was good. How did you feel about the bed?
You know what? It was fine. It was good. It was comfy.
Yeah.
We've cruised on a few different cruise lines. I found some lines have very firm mattresses. I thought on the Radiance it was softer, which is, for me, I prefer softer.
I didn't wake up with a sore back. No. I was comfortable. I slept good. So
I was
happy with it. The bedding was nice. The pillows were comfortable.
It wasn't like riding home to find out what luxury sheets they were using or anything, but I was comfortable.
Yeah. Another important thing. We don't go on a cruise to watch TV, but there was a TV in the room. It was, if I were to guess, a 32-inch TV. So it did seem smaller than other cruise lines or other ships for the size of room.
But the placement was okay.
Yeah, the placement was fine. So they had their typical channels, like all about excursions and booking future cruises and all that kind of stuff. There was a few news channels. I don't know, just nothing too fancy for TV channels. And then there was some complimentary and paid for on demand movies. Yeah. So actually a fair amount of complimentary movies, but there aren't, I know I kind of usually mention this, there weren't complimentary TV shows on demand.
No, which you sometimes like, because you can really enjoy sitcoms, and so sometimes you like to do like a marathon of a sitcom, but it was decent.
So yeah, it was good. It was fine.
Yeah.
And then there was another couple wishes we had.
Not too big here.
Overall, the room was in pretty good condition, but our couch, the drawer under the bed, was broken. So we pulled it out, and it was broken, it was still usable.
We didn't need the space, but if you were hoping to use that, if you had a lot of people staying in your cabin, you might want that.
And the furnishings were kind of aged a little bit, like they were squeaky, and the cabinets were starting to feel aged.
Not a deal breaker.
A deal breaker.
No.
But I think the biggest wish was the door has a big vent in it.
And so you go, what were you thinking? You put a hole into the hallway, right? So that brings in a lot of extra noise. However, we contacted guest services on the first day.
Right away.
and we got one of their fans, and that fan made so much white noise that it was a non-issue. I slept great.
Yeah, it definitely was a loud fan.
You could turn it up. It was like,
yeah.
it was, I like that, so it was wonderful.
Yeah, if one of the propellers broke on the ship, they probably could have used that fan. It was powerful. And it definitely did help because there were a few times where people were noisy in the hall, quite noisy actually, and the fan drowned that out.
It helped a lot.
Yeah, so if that's going to be an issue for you, definitely go right away and ask.
Right away.
Right away, because I'm sure they don't have enough for everybody. So, but other than that, thoughts on that cabin, even like the porthole?
Yeah, one big worry I had is I'm someone who loves the Lido deck. I love to walk through the buffet and grab a snack. So having a porthole means you're pretty far from those things. But I thought it was worth the distance to have the natural light in my cabin and that extra space. I really enjoyed that, and it made the trip really comfortable.
Yeah, I agree. I would book that cabin again, but I would just make sure that I had a fan.
Me too.
So those are our thoughts on our Porthole Cabin on the Carnival Radiance.